Joe. Look at that. Nice. We're live.
What's up, everybody? It is Friday. We're live. We're alive. And, looking good. Well. Looking real good.
We escaped mostly unscathed from the hurricane. We still have like 8 employees who don't have power at their house as of this morning.
Yeah.
And actually, most of them around, they're close to this. They're in Lady Lake area.
Yeah, I feel like the older, more established areas have larger tree cover and, generally have power lines that aren't buried. So we never had power go out at all.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was really good. It never even flickered. So, yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, the weird thing about down south there, all the new trees, they all tons and tons uprooted. Because it's all, even all the oak trees where they, like in the forest, it's fine because they all kind of work together. But the trees that were standalone, and because of how wet the ground was, there's just nothing snapped. It just flipped, just tipped over.
Yeah.
Stinks. So I would guess the villages has, millions of dollars worth of tree removal. It's pretty wild.
Our buddy Wise Preston has a lot of work ahead of him. He cleaned up our parking lot today. That was nice of him.
Yeah.
Took some stuff down.
That's good. Yeah, so we're all cleaned up here. Last thing we need to do is get the air conditioning zoning dialed. Yeah. And then that's why I have my sweatshirt on. You're going to be a little chilly in here. I got pants and a sweatshirt on, and a hat. Get my head warm, and we'll get the air conditioner dialed, get the roof dialed, get the building, well, not last thing, but those are the major things to get fixed. I think John's back on his feet here shortly. He had his back surgery, so he can come and dial in our AC system.
So one quick note, and I let support know about this. So USPS came in this morning.
Mm-hmm.
They did not pick up. They just did a drop-off. They're not doing pickups today.
Okay.
So we were closed yesterday.
Yeah.
So potentially we had customers who ordered maybe on Wednesday who didn't go out yesterday if they shipped via USPS. It's not going out today. Saturday, Sunday. Monday is Columbus Day.
Oh, geez.
A major holiday, of course. So USPS may not pick up on that day. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So we could have people who order on a Wednesday and it might not ship till Tuesday because of that. So apologies for that if you ordered USPS. UPS is fine. It's all good. But USPS customers might have a delay there, or will have a delay. Let's see. Let's get to a couple questions here. First of all, our buddy Dan checking in from Minnesota. It feels like Minnesota in this room right now, Dan. I'm not going to lie. It is darn cold.
Are you going to make it?
Yeah.
You're going to go grab a hoodie out of the
I almost bought a
warehouse.
Hoodie, yeah. Lane on a plane, said, I met with your garage designer. He convinced me to go with Pro Slack cabinets when I planned on New Age originally.
Oh, gosh. That's a joke.
Is the price point difference worth it?
Yes.
And noticeable as far as quality
100%.
goes?
Yeah. That's like comparing a Hyundai Elantra, your near and dear, versus a 4 Series BMW. Okay. It's 3 Series BMW, not even close. Yeah, good move, worth every penny. New Age is what you do if you don't have the resources to do the ProSlat stuff. I'm putting ProSlat in my garage. It actually should be here late next week, hopefully.
In the Middleton garage?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's what we always wanted Sabre to be. But yeah, considerably more than something like New Age, but if you can swing it, you're not going to be disappointed. Fit, finish, quality, drawer glides, the whole thing, just completely different level. So good job. That's a good move by all involved.
Taylor Hardy says, I'm excited for Microfiber 4.0. When do you think the package will be done? I have a hodgepodge of towels currently, and I'm ready for a full refresh and consolidation.
I have a call with those guys on Thursday next week. I thought it was Thursday this week. That was yesterday. Maybe it's Thursday next week to nail it down. But it will be a while because we're going to do all these custom towels. They're going to take some time to get made.
Let's see. Our buddy Baloo, he's over in Wildwood area, I think, says he finally has power back now after the hurricane. Time to wash the cars while listening. Nice. Glad you got your power back. Hey, Matt. Hope all is well for you and your team with the storms. Have you looked at the in-floor 2-post lifts as an option for the dry ice bay since you're having to report the slab or report the slab, maybe?
The problem with those, I don't know what depth you need, but the water table is very high in Florida, and to go down that far, I would assume, however long the posts are, if they go up 6 feet, you got to have a 6-foot hole in the ground, and I don't think that really works for us here, with water. So I don't think, and I think they're a lot more money and just not as practical. I think they're cool and be great, but I don't think we can do it here.
Maurizio says, hello, glad everyone is okay. I would like to hear your take on the release of the products from Pan the Organizer and his video ranking them. Then he deleted. I don't know.
I talked to him about it. He's in Japan now. He was like, I'm taking this video down because I want to have a nice vacation. So I don't want to be picking fights with people. We talked about this quite a bit the last podcast about creating your own line. Actually, I just talked to McKee's today about my intention and my difficulty with people creating their own line is the inability to have the best product in each category. You've got to make compromises. There's no way you're going to have the best product in each category. You'd be lucky if you get one product right ever. To get like best in class. It's like catching lightning in a bottle. So, and I've talked to him about this. I think, the way that I'm going to create the Obsessed Garage, all I really care about with an Obsessed Garage line is just really want to have a matching bottle. It's annoying to get all these different bottles. And so I'm talking to all the brands and allowing me to put their name and my name on the same bottle. And then I can buy totes and I can bottle it. And the other advantage for me from a business perspective is that I make more money because, the cost, if they're not marking up the labor, if I'm getting the labor at my cost and if I'm able to buy totes. So just to give you an example, I think like if I buy Brake Buster and if I buy a gallon of it, let's say it's $30 and we pay $15 for that $30 retail item. If I buy a tote and I put it in my own gallon, let's say the gallon costs $2 and the label costs 50 cents and the labor costs 15 cents per bottle to put it in, or let's say it's even $1 labor. My total cost, instead of being $15, is probably something like $6 to put it in a gallon with all the costs. So I more than double my margin, right? Double the profitability per gallon. So, and then imagine if you do it in 32 ounces or 16 ounces, the profitability goes way up over what I'd pay to have them bottle it and send it to me in a finished goods in a crappy bottle. So the plan is to have matching press-all and then a matching entry-level bottle, which Bryce and Tommy have redesigned. They've created a brand new bottle, a brand new setup on the entry level. That bottle is going to cost us like 35 cents or 60 cents or something like that, $1 for, bottle and sprayer. And that will be considerably better than what all the other manufacturers provide their product in. So I just don't think that when you go out and create your own line, you're going to be making a bunch of compromises, that you might have a decent product, but you're not going to have the best product in each category that you're trying to fill. You'd have to spend a lifetime. And then even if you spend a lifetime, you probably still won't. You got to catch lightning in a bottle. You got to get lucky. You got to be right place, right time, right sequence, right product. You would theoretically probably need a different chemist for every single product. You'd have to hire I'd have to hire 20 different chemists and try, different just trial and error. So I would think one product would take me nearly a lifetime to beat CarPro or Geon or beat, these companies have been doing it for a long time at their own game.
Matt, who asked the question about the lift, also asked a question here. This is a good question. Would you sell to New Zealand once you open your store in Australia?
Yeah, I think so. And what we may do is have like a little subsidiary, little shipper or something like that there. I mean, the plan would be to make it readily available there. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm assuming there's like a ferry or something to bring stuff over. Or what's the distance from say, what would it be, Perth? On the west coast, no, east coast to New Zealand.
So the closest distance is 932 miles.
Jeez.
So that's
okay,
pretty
that
good
ain't no ferry there. No.
No.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like from the Mississippi to New York City. Yeah.
3 to 4 hours to travel between major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane to Auckland or Wellington in New Zealand.
Yeah.
By plane. So yeah, that's a good haul.
Yeah. 3-hour flight. I don't know.
I'm not sure how it works, but that's a great question, and I'm going to ask that of our friends next time we chat with them.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks, Matt Major. Let's see. Lightly Seasoned said, how did Mike's beach house hold up? I know the last video he was worried about getting it boarded up. I haven't heard about it after.
I don't think they got a storm surge.
Yeah, they were
right, in
they were
Tampa
north.
or anywhere, right? But even Tampa, I don't think got a storm surge because of the way the winds, where the tide fell and the winds blew. I saw some video of Sarasota and water, coming up over shore, but I don't think they got nearly the storm surge that they got from the last hurricane. So, I wonder if they've reclassified it because I think it only came ashore as a Category 1, right? I mean, when they were talking about the highest gusts, the highest gust winds were I saw 109 or something like that over near Tampa, but that's a gust. The hurricanes are categorized by sustained winds, not gusts, right? So if sustained winds of 120 or whatever, that's a Category 3. So I don't think it was almost tropical storm-like categorization. It was right at the edge of that, so that the damage was nowhere near what could have been. So I wonder if they go back and recategorize and readjust. Because I know all my friends in Tampa, I think a lot of them are without power. There's some standing water. It's interesting. They misuse the term. I always thought flash flood meant a river of like what happened in the Carolinas, a wave of water was rushing by. And you see the dorks around Orlando, with the reporters going looking for carnage, and there's a puddle in the street. And they call it a flash flood. I don't think we can really get flash floods here because it's too flat. There's not rushing water that's creating a raging torrent. It really can't happen here because it's too flat. Now, when you have a storm surge, I think that you wouldn't call that a flash flood because it's called a storm surge. But that would theoretically be a flash flood because the water is rushing off the ocean and then, tsunamiing into the streets could sweep you away. So I don't think that they're using the terminology properly. And I think they're using it to cause shock and awe. So all of you guys up north, this storm was very pedestrian. It was very normal, like a normal yearly Florida hurricane, right? And so don't let your relatives down here sensationalize it. It certainly was, to walk out on the lanai, I don't know if you saw the video, walk out and you hear that howling. It's man, it freaks you out a little bit. It's this is my...
That sounds scary.
Yeah, is the darn roof getting ripped off kind of thing. But, the roof's rated for 180 mile an hour winds or something, 200 mile an hour winds or something like that. So, luckily... The seems like the most severe damage in the state was actually on the east side of the state, where the tornadoes, in Palm Beach County, somewhere I think over near Cocoa, Melbourne. I think a lot of those people, there were some isolated, actually nasty tornadoes that kind of ripped roofs off and ripped up, picked up cars and dropped them off. But the actual storm, the hurricane part is, and we've gotten really lucky in weather-wise because normally storm comes through and then it's 98 degrees and super humid the next day. So those without power, luckily it's 70 degrees outside and the most beautiful weather you've ever seen. It's like Southern California weather out there now. So that is a real pleasant, much more pleasant than normal. And certainly some isolated homes here and there probably, got some water damage, but luckily the storm surge, the 12-foot storm surge they were predicting, luckily that didn't come through. But naturally, people that were on the water probably saw some, water coming in. And I think these last few hurricanes will probably change the way that people construct homes on, like Mike's house. He's talking about raising it, you make that lower level all concrete. And in a lot of the apartments and high-rise complexes and stuff like that, that's the way they're set up, is that the base floor is just, is parking garage or something like that. So I think people will probably turn that into, their homes on the coast. We should go and offer, when they rebuild, we should be doing obsessed garages down, low, do Swiss tracks and, powder-coated cabinets where they don't get ruined.
We got a couple Canadian questions here for us.
Okay.
Number one, well, not a question, but Philippe says, Good Friday to all the OG crew from Canada. It's our Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend.
Ooh.
Happy Thanksgiving to you,
It's a
Philippe.
turkey.
Felix B says, I'm in Canada and I wash outside.
Mm-hmm.
How would you go about taking care of your vehicle during winter? I have access to a car wash close to my place, like heated and pressure washer.
Yeah, I mean, what I used to do when I was younger, when I had like my Civic, is I'd go to like the quarter car wash, where they, but it wasn't like Canadian cold, So let's say it was like 30 degrees or something like that, or 28 degrees. You'd go out there and you'd use the quarter car wash and just kind of try to get the salt off the car. But I'm not an expert because I haven't been, it's been 20 something years since I lived in a snow type place. I think I would certainly want to use a lot of Built Hammer products, Atomac. I would want to get some rust inhibiting stuff, underneath the car. So I would be working on trying to figure out a way to wash in my garage, if possible, my heated garage in the house, which you're going to have to, make some concessions and clean out drains and stuff, because you're going to be dumping all kinds of crap on the floor that we don't have that issue with down south here. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably try to find a place that it's heated. I mean, if you're like in the like below freezing, or you're well below freezing, say you're in the 10 degrees Fahrenheit, what is that, like minus 10 Celsius, something like that. I mean, you're going to be in a world of hurt trying to go out and wash in that kind of weather. So I don't have much input for you there. Sorry.
Right, then you probably may not have much. He said, also, any thoughts on having your primary vehicle crowned? So look that up, and that's like a rust protection thing.
That sounds like a bunch of nonsense.
Crown with a K. That's never a good sound if they use a K.
Yeah, it sounds like bullcrap to me.
Let's see. Needing to upgrade my DI system. This is from Chris J. Should I get CR Spotless, or will the prototype be coming out anytime soon?
We've had a little bit of a setback. We actually hired, in order, as we're working on building our working prototypes, we hired a water treatment expert. He's a consultant, and just to kind of tear apart our plan, right? And so he was very uncomfortable using custom fitted garden hose because of the brass and the O-rings. Says you're almost inevitably guaranteed to have issues in the future with, especially long term. And so we're going to go back to like Schedule 40 PVC and go back to the drawing board there. He's also a little uncomfortable with some of the components of our valve, so we may convert those to stainless. So we're probably looking at launch after the first of the year.
All right, this is from Mike Z in Chicago, Wash and Shine Garage. Hey, Matt and Chris, can you provide an update on the garage door insulation solution? Also wondering if you're close to offering Tool Grid with your Milwaukee accessory kits.
Jeremy just emailed me. Let me see. I'll read you what he said. Let's see.
While you're doing that, let's see. Christopher Lester says Traceless works better than advertised.
I told you guys, I don't make false claims. So he sent me new and improved. So it's much thinner material. He says he'll email me info soon. He's got like a package, and like a whole garage door package, weighs about 29 pounds.
And this is what we have up in the warehouse, right?
Yeah, it's just the new version of it. And so I said, sick, I'm 100% down. That was September 16th. Let me see where he's at.
October 11th.
People are asking about the solution.
Jason, we have a slight naysayers here on Traceless. He said it works great, but the smell is hit or miss. And Fine Detailing agrees. He says the smell can be a little strong indoors.
Yeah.
Wish the scent was toned down a bit,
Just
too.
man up. Don't be
Great
such a
performance,
baby.
though.
Yeah, that's for babies. I say toughen up
I
a
haven't
little
smelled
bit.
that. I need to get a
Yeah.
bottle and smell it.
You know, it smell, whatever. I mean, I don't care what it smells like as long as it works.
Mike P says, "Hey Matt, is the surface cleaner worth the $700? Is there another cheaper option?"
There's tons of cheaper options, but that one I wouldn't use any other one. It's so good.
Well,
it's so good.
He does say, "I only want to buy one to keep salt off my cars in the winter here in Michigan. I don't want that Ryobi junk."
Yeah, this is like a purchase once and have forever. It's good, really, really good. I'd mess with the MTM, the Ryobi, had several others. I mean, Mosmatic, this is like their forte, their expertise. It's all T316 stainless. It's really great. And then you can use it to clean your floor too. So it's flipped, so you can use it for dual purpose. Most of them, you're either getting an undercarriage cleaner or a surface cleaner, not both. So I think it's fantastic.
Luca wants to get your experience or opinion on Swiss Track's Pearl Silver versus Slate Gray.
I don't like it. Most people like it. The Pearl has a little bit of a sheen to it, which helps with dirt, right? So it's a little bit slicker, if you will, to the touch. Whereas the Slate Gray is a matte finish, so it has a little bit more texture to it. Now we're splitting hairs here. It's very similar. So the Pearl technically would stay cleaner longer. Not that I have an issue with the cleanliness of Slate Gray. But I just like the Slate Gray to me just looks better. The Pearls are a little bit too it's a little bit more feminine looking. You know, it's just not quite as so it's got a little more style to it than the Slate Gray does. But I just like flat finishes. And so I like flat paint, I like flat walls, or flat paint, flat floors. If you prefer a sheen, then the Pearl you would prefer it. So, but the gray is it's darker, deeper gray on the Slate Gray, and then it has that kind of matte finish instead of a little bit of a slight sheen to it. So it's kind of like Slate Gray is a satin, and then a Pearl is probably more like an eggshell, not a full semi-gloss, but more like an eggshell type.
Barbecue Jones, our buddy out there in Phoenix, says, "While visiting my mom, I used Color Lock to clean her nasty steering wheel and Traceless to clean her car windows and appliances. It was awesome."
I'm kind of interested. I haven't cleaned let's say a new car. We have a bunch of off-gassing and I kind of have the gooped up windows. That's where I would normally use Angel Wax Vision. I haven't tried Traceless there yet. So I'm kind of interested what people's take is. What I found is that anything greasy, it doesn't do much to. So like if your phone had a bunch of let's say you're eating some chicken wings or something, or you're eating some truffle fries and you got that oil or the vegetable oil on your screen or something, I find that it doesn't clean that as well. Not that I was eating truffle fries, Chris.
No, it's not on Carnival.
I would never do that. But or like I noticed on the countertops, like if I had something grease, it takes a little more effort than invisible glass. So I don't think it replaces invisible glass. I think it's in addition to.
Yeah, we had some visitors here it was either Monday or Tuesday, and he was commenting he used it on the interior windows in the car, and he noticed he hasn't had any fogging issues since using it there.
I mean, the key is getting your windows ultra clean, and that's why I used. I think the advantage of Traceless on the interiors, and you don't have to go after it, where you're sweating and breathing heavy, maybe make for better videos. You just wipe it off instead of just having to buff the crap out of it. So to keep your windows from fogging is to keep them clean.
All right, Dylan says, "Hey guys, my brother just picked up used Nismo Recaro Sportster CS for his car. What's your recommendation for removing the oils from the leather to get them back to the satin finish from the factory?"
Yeah, I mean, for leather, I would buy the Color Lock brush, the OG version of Color Lock brush, same brush. Get Strong Cleaner. So you'd want to clean it really well, and you'd want to buy leather protection cream and leather shield. So you would use Strong Cleaner, clean it until it's clean, and then follow with leather protection cream, and then follow that with Shield, like, a couple hours later, and that'll protect. It'll make a nice matte finish and get it nice and clean. But yeah, you'll want to really dig in with don't use any pressure. Just use the brush and circular motions with strong cleaner. Wipe it off with a towel, and you'll be good to go.
All right, George says, hey, Matt, for the new stainless press-all tips, can I just buy the tips if I already have a dozen bottles or so, or do I need to buy the sprayer as well?
Yep, you'll be able to buy those. I think we're good to go. We just have to work on, we have a meeting coming up on pricing, and I think we're looking pretty good.
Catwill says, hey, Matt, any update on adding a trigger lock for the Mirko?
No updates, no.
Or if
I'm going to meet with them at SEMA again and see if I can convince them. Just like it reminds me of anything we do with the Europeans. It's like it's years in process to get anything done. They're not like Americans. They're much more. They're much simpler. They like their lifestyle. They take their time. They think things through. They don't leap before they're ready to, and so it takes them a long time to make adjustments.
Bill Riviello says, having tried some of Pan's products, they are darn good. I can't say that they are or are not the best, but they're definitely worth trying. Got it. Have you used any of them? Or
no.
No.
I told them don't send them to me.
Michael says, hey, Matt, which shorts are you wearing these days? I'm looking into trying something new.
I pretty much exclusively wear Arc'teryx. It's just tricky finding ones that aren't like girl shorts. All you bros wearing, tiny shorts. I'm not interested in that. Like 5-inch inseam nonsense. I want like an 11-inch inseam. I'm not a child. I'm not trying to show off my thighs.
Well, along those same lines here from Berksay, getting to be that time of year again, what was the brand of jeans that Matt found?
My current favorite is what are they? Blue Delta. The ones that are made in North Carolina. I think it's Blue Delta jeans. They're my favorite. They're like $400 a piece, though. Is it Blue Delta? Yeah. These guys. And then I had them. I bought them through. I don't think they're as expensive when you go there, but I bought them through Tom James, and so they were, built to spec. So they fit me exactly well.
They fit what you used to be.
Yeah, they fit what I was last month. But I'm back on today, day one, Chris. I'm on day one.
Right,
yeah.
Good.
Been too many little cheats.
Lots of little ones add up.
Yeah. Yeah, I like those pants a lot. They're not as fancy and as revered as like the Iron Heart stuff that I bought, but they have a stretch to them, or the Iron Heart stuff doesn't. And man, they're comfortable. They're really nice.
All right, let's see. Oh, and Jason follows up on his comment about Traceless the scent. He says, I've started using, after you mentioned being a man and manning up, I've started wearing it as cologne.
There
and
you
also
go.
used as butthole cleaner to get over the smell.
I like that, yeah. Careful with that. It might burn real bad.
Man, it's all relative.
Depending on what you've been eating.
Let's see. Bill Jones says, what do you recommend to remove a paint scrape on my car door? Somebody looks to have scraped my door and transferred some paint. Does not appear to have gone through the clear coat. Tar remover, ?
Yeah, I mean, I'd try Tar-X, and then you'd probably want to polish it. And the polish will take it off.
Yeah, didn't you just do that, Tim? What did you use?
I used
Clay scrubber. Worked for him.
Yeah, so you can clay it and try Tar-X, and then you'd want to polish it anyway, so just polish it.
Murphy wants to know, hey, Matt, are you ever going to change or update your ceramic coating process? There are lots of other brands that are slicker and offer better beading than CSL XO and don't require multiple layers.
No, there aren't. I don't buy it. They all look pretty much the same to me. That's the thing. Everybody's like, look how much great this beading is. Well, beading is not a problem with any coating. And slicker, I don't understand how it could be any slicker. So now it may last longer. And I'll certainly try other things, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything that like is some earth-shatteringly different than what already exists. Nothing's changed. It's a silicon dioxide or titanium dioxide resin delivered solvent delivered coating. And so I don't know. Now, again, I think longevity certainly, but I don't know. Yeah.
All right, Brandon says, my car just received fresh PPF on the full front clip, and the entire car was coated with G-Technic Pro.
Mm-hmm.
If you created a starter kit to care for this combo, which soap and drying aid would you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, I would use GSF, and then I'd use the OG drying aid on it. It'll do great. And then I would also have a bottle of Reset as well. But before doing any of that, you certainly get touchless. So you'd want to be using touchless. I found that touchless has made Reset sort of unnecessary. Touchless does any of my sort of cleaning up and deconning. Yeah, Viore is the king of dork shorts. You know,
Someone just commented this.
Yeah, I bought a set, and it's like they're just cut for girls. They're girl shorts.
You can do 6.5 or 8.5.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and they have like a terrible like inseam cut where whenever you move, like then they come up to like 3 inches. Comes right up your butt crack. It's terrible. Their whole line is that's an Instagram line to me. I had to buy some of their stuff from when I was at the rag company. I went to where they go REI. I'm like, well, you know, I see all this crap on Instagram all the time, so I bought 2 or 3 things. I'm like, they're all been punted in the trash. It's terrible.
Ooh.
I forget what I was talking about.
About coatings?
Oh yeah, you're caring for your car, so you want touchless, GSF, and OG drying aid.
Speaking of that, I know you guys talked to Koshimi this week or last week.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked me the other day if we were getting GFX again. Have you heard anything about that?
Yep, I have 1,500 bottles reserved.
Okay.
They said they were going to make 3,000. I said, well, I want 3,000. And they wouldn't let me have it, so I got 1,500.
All right, so there you go.
Last year, I think I got 1,500 of the 2,000. So now they doubled it, and so, but yeah, it'll be back.
All right, let's see here. This guy must be from across the pond, Andy.
Is he wearing tight shorts as well?
Probably.
Yeah.
But he says, what do you use as screen wash for the wipers? I used Angel Wax and some others. Don't get Berry screen wash. It smells like a cheap stripper.
Yeah, again, I'm not a good candidate for this here because I just put DI water in there. But, I mean, we don't freeze, so I don't have to worry about that. So you guys all need to use an additive when it gets cold. And I was using Angel Wax Clarity. Seems okay, but I'm sure there's got to be something better. I think Nexzet has a good additive for your windscreen wash, your windshield wash. And so check out the Nexzet stuff. But I don't have a lot of experience because I'm in Florida and we don't need anything, so I prefer not to do anything. Or if I do something, I'll actually mix up McKee's N914 and make it like a waterless wash for the windshield.
Brian Dangler says, hey, Matt, any update on your Middleton closets and whether you'll be continuing with the Dornis or finding a solution elsewhere?
Yeah, jury's out. Don't buy anything yet because I'm trying to figure it out. Supposedly, I'm gonna have my closets in the next week or two. I'm not, counting any chickens. I'm not. Wrong expression. I'm not planning on it. But I'm working on it. I will have a solution, and it's going to be amazing. So, but I'm working on it.
Ricardo wants to know, in a grip strength competition, who would win, Mike F. or Matt?
I don't know. I got a pretty good grip.
You need to get one of those little measuring things. We can find out, Ricardo. Hey, Matt, what are your thoughts on the Rag Company's wool wheel mitt? Gavin wants to know.
It's pretty much the same as the FlexiPad mitt. Hopefully, it's more consistent because sometimes FlexiPads will bleed, sometimes they won't. Most of the time, they don't. I do like the little band around the edge of it that they put on there. It seems to hold form a little better because what happens with the FlexiPads over time is it kind of opens up. The hole opens up a little wider. And so this one will stay true because of the band that they sewed on the edge. So I do like that. So I think I do like it more.
All right, someone else here recommended Cool, Kuhl.
Yeah.
Cool shorts.
I have a bunch of those. They're great. And they sell ones that aren't nut huggers.
Anuj says, EgoFan is coming in clutch for kids sports. I can't imagine life without it now.
Oh, yeah, it's key. It's key to life. And then how many comments do you get from everybody who's like, what is that? You know, because you see them walking around with their little dork fans, like their little Ryobi junk or some, you know, DeWalt, you know, piece of crap. And you come strolling in. It's like strolling up in your you know, in your Maybach, and they're like, "Oh man, where'd you get that? How much?" And you tell them how much it is, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't get that." You know, I'm like, I'm committed to this game, and so I'm gonna buy, you know, the best fan, and it just makes it an amazing. You got as much speed as you could want. The only thing is it can get loud when you really crank that sucker up. But yeah, every time I do it, it's everybody's always in, you know, man, where'd you get that thing? I said, well, technically I kind of sell it, but it's you're not going to want to know how much this thing is, because what is it, like $900 or something like that? It's
with
not
the
cheap.
batteries.
Yeah.
How about Kettle mountain shorts? KETL. Have you ever?
No, somebody suggests those, but I haven't
They're a
tried
mountain
those.
bike brand. This is from Alden in the comments. Nate says, I built a small gym area in my finished basement.
Okay.
I use Swiss Trax Smooth over the existing LVP, but it's a bit loud to walk on. Have you ever used an underlayment? I was thinking maybe EVA foam.
I haven't, but I'm sure it would work. The only concern would be you need a solid underlayment, one that's I don't know if like neoprene is the right word, but you need something where it didn't cut through it. Because if it was any kind of foam based, eventually the channeling underneath is going to cut through it. What is it? $900?
No, well the fan only is $279.
Yeah.
Then you got to buy the batteries.
Okay,
the batteries.
so it's $700. Yeah.
Let's see. Which batteries are you getting for your Ego fan?
Yeah, I mean you probably want the 7.5 amp hour.
Yes, that's $400.
Yeah, so you're $680. I'm not quite as bougie as I thought I was. It's a bargain. You could easily run it with a 4, you know, a 5 or 4 or 5 amp hour. I mean, 2.5 would probably still work for a whole game.
Why risk it though? Why risk it?
Yeah, I don't want to risk it. Fully charged, show up prepared.
Sonny says, can you make another hour-long clean the garage with me video? Love having it on in the background while sorting life out. Having it on inside the hex works as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to do that with... I almost did it this weekend. I just kind of wanted to do it on my own. It was hot as crap, too, so I was sweating like crazy. I want to do, when I get the cabinets, like organizing the cabinets, I'll probably do some videos like that, or just hang and watch me piddle here. And tools, you know, putting tools in the cabinets. So, yeah, I'm down for that.
Gary Jones out in Arizona, this is with regard to super hot temperatures, has a tip. Don't keep Angel Wax Vision in the garage in super hot temperatures. It will bust open.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On the positive side, I've had no issues with my Swiss Trax buckling. Good to know. Is there any concern to put ceramic coating on a van that has vinyl lettering and a logo on it?
Nope. You just won't be able to polish it off later on, but it'll be fine. It'll actually make it look better.
Neil White says that Matt seems more of a Lululemon type of guy.
Yeah, no. I have a Lululemon backpack because I was in, where was I? I was in some town for a while. Where the heck was I? It was in New Jersey.
For a while.
Oh, it was in Chatham. I was up in New Jersey, and I had 2 Ziploc bags with all my gym stuff, like my jump rope, and so I'm walking around town, and I realized people think I'm homeless, so I'm like, well, let me walk in here, and I bought a bag, and I bought a shirt, I bought a polo there, I bought a large, and it's like a small, it's like unwearable, so yeah, not for me.
Let's see. Can we pre-order the GFX? Someone wants to know.
No.
We'll let you know when it comes out. Hey, Matt, how is Mike enjoying his newfound celebrity status?
Yeah, he's doing all right. He doesn't really care. He's just doing him.
Let's see. Andrew wants to know, hey, Matt, are you going to be restocking the Cree CR4T replacements at 3,500K in the future?
Yes. I'm surprised we don't have them. Why don't we not have them? Oh, he wants the 4-inch. Yeah, we need to get the 4s. We need to get all those. Somebody who's listening, let's get this moving. We should have all Cree CR 6 and CR4s in stock. We have plenty of 6s, but the 4s are more. Actually, maybe we have a special order 4s because not too many people have that size. But just email. We can. I know they have them available, so just shoot us an email. We can get them.
Don't have 3,500 or 3,000.
Yeah, they're only $20. That's pretty sweet.
Luke wants to know, when will the Middleton house be dialed in, and and will we be getting frequent wash and talks from there?
The garage, I would guess we're probably about a month and a half away from it being pretty well dialed, and all the time. I just shot one yesterday, so I got to put it up. I got to edit it tonight, so it'll be up this weekend.
Reef Rondo says, I need help sourcing a Cox reel here in Scotland. I reached out to our UK distributor and zero help. Can I buy from you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be like $100 to ship it, but we have them and we can ship it to you for sure.
We have shipped them there before, Reef Rondo.
Yep. And we ship it to you DHL. You'll get it in like 3 days in better condition than if I ship something to Miami from here. Yeah, 2 or 3 days DHL. Choose that option. It's going to be $100 plus US, but we can get it to you for sure.
All right, John F. A couple weeks ago, he said, I asked about what you use to remove compound from textured plastic a few weeks ago. 70% isopropyl Goo Gone back and forth with a fine toothbrush eventually did it. Total pain, but it worked.
Yeah.
That's good. Does Mike have the same shorts as Matt? Looks like a similar style in the latest video.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Hey, Matt, why have you not built a new house yet? Luke wants to know. Tons of garbage getting built right now. If you get into building, it'll be next level. The standard is so low.
Yeah, I think I'm headed in that direction at some point. I have a lot more to learn before I feel like I'm ready to do that. But, I'm definitely headed there at some point. My long-term plan is to build a darn whole community. So buy 100 acres, divide it up, build a house, finish it, immediately start the second house. As soon as the second house is done, sell the first house, move into the second house, figure out what I did wrong in the first 2 houses, start the third house. As soon as the third house is done, move into the third house, sell the second house. My guess is there will be somebody behind me doing the same thing, buying the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth house. By the 10th house, I'll have it licked.
That's Rusty's plan, right? He's just going to buy the from you. And someone will buy them from Rusty. Let's see. CJ says, after you get your garage installation team built in Florida, will you partner with other remodeling companies across the country?
Probably not, but I'm sure that there will be some collaboration. So what I don't think I want to do is get in the vetting process or vetting business where I need to figure out who's going to be OG spec. I don't think I want to do that.
Let's see. Ben Madura says, I'm doing CSL and EXO on my truck from y'all this weekend. Nice.
Smart.
All right, Ben.
It's good.
Fine detailing. Are you planning on testing the active foam cannon? All stainless, will it beat griots?
Hold on 1 second.
All right, I went to the active site so we can check this thing out here. There it is. Ooh, that looks fancy. It kind of looks like your shaker bottles, your Hex. Wide mouth, that's good.
All right, what was the question?
Are you planning on testing the active foam cannon?
No, I can tell it's garbage just by looking at it.
He says all stainless.
No, it's great. The bottle's terrible. It's just that it looks like a copy. There's no. They didn't do what I'd said you need to do. What we needed a foam. Now I'm not going to tell you guys what you need in a foam cannon because somebody's just going to frickin'. They won't do it anyway. So what we need in a foam cannon is we don't need a adjustment knob. You don't need one. Just make foam. Peg, full open, full foaming. What you need is an orifice selector, right? So that way you don't have to go and take it apart to change the orifice. So that way if you had different pressure washers or different applications, or you had a pressure washer that had the ability to transition, so if you had a soap or something that needed a little bit more need to be a little bit more capable. You could switch just the selector, and it would be a strong detent where you could switch from 1.1 to 1.25. But instead of it being directly 1.1 and 1.25, what if I could run my pressure washer at a 1.2, or a 1.15 or a 1.4? What if it really helped? Like say with a K1322. I don't want to have to run it all the way to a 1.5 because I don't get quite as good of foaming, but maybe I could stay under the 15 amp circuit if I could run it at 1.35 or 1.3, or something like that. So I would want a infinitely adjustable orifice, not an infinitely adjustable foaming option. Unless in some way like Griot's metering, could I have some sort of adjustable metering, and then make it different? I mean, why is that setup? Why is that the best? I would want a longer neck where I could kind of hold it better. So you don't want the bottle to tip over, but I'd want some sort of like a way that the neck was bigger, where I could hold on to it better and kind of double handle it if I needed to. I'd also want to figure out a way to make it so it doesn't spin around on the quick disconnect. Could I figure out a way to make that work where there was some sort of detent on it where I could kind of lock it in place so I could turn it however I needed to turn it without it kind of flopping around. So, why is it that length? Why don't we make it a different? Maybe the nozzle needs to be a little longer. I also don't want fan adjustability. I want the fan to be dictated what the fan is. It needs to be like 25 degrees. So every time you frickin' touch the thing, it gets all wonk. So I want to figure out what is the proper fan and have it set up that way. So all these companies that if you're going to make something, like the beauty of the Active is they innovated and made a 5-plunger design. So if you're going to make a foam cannon, why not do the same thing?
Invasion HD says, which pressure washer setup from your site would you recommend for someone just getting started and wanting to take care of their vehicle? They don't want cheap, but they also don't necessarily want the best of the best.
Yeah, I mean, the Comet's a great option. The more I use it at my house, the more I like how simple it is to, like, I kind of fold up my hose and tuck the power cord, and it was I installed it in 10 minutes, where I just, connected to the hose bib. It's not custom installed, but at least it's mounted to the wall, really easy to put back. I think if I was going to do Comet long term, I would probably eventually buy a hose reel and a better hose because that hose isn't great. So Comet is one option. The AR630 is a great solid option as well. I mean, if you go down to Active, if you can swing it, if money's not the main issue, you just don't want to spend it, but you don't want to spend the $1,300 for a Krenzla. I mean, the Active 630 TS is I think the best pressure washer. Yeah, sorry, AR. The AR630 TS is the best option.
Lightly Seasoned says, I have a couple of water spots on my car. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if I should just go straight to polishing, or should I even try a water spot remover?
A water spot remover isn't going to work. So you should still use the water spot remover to hopefully it will at least break down and dissolve what it can, but it's not going to do squat.
Obsessed Detailing Solutions says, have you seen the new Ego 880 blower that's coming out, as well as the new compact pressure washer they have?
No, I haven't seen either one of those.
Let's see. We still need to get that little Ego mini bike, too.
We do.
Don't forget about that.
There we go. I'm down for that.
Coming soon.
That looks pretty sweet.
Speeds up to 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm in. Because I don't love the 765. That could be my replacement for the 580. I just wonder if it nukes batteries faster.
Up to 90 minutes of average runtime with 2 included 4.0 amp-hour batteries.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to switch the batteries, and that's certainly without turbo mode, I'm sure. Interesting.
So thanks for the heads up. Who was that? Obsessed Detailing Solutions. Invasion HD wants to know, when it comes to a garden hose, spring-loaded versus manual reel for a garden hose.
The only spring-loaded I found that's any good is the McNaught out of Australia. but it doesn't have a great hose, and so you're dealing with a mediocre hose, and I don't know that you could put like a full weight hose inside of it. I don't think that spring loaded's good enough. With pressure washer hose and garden hose, I just don't like the spring load because you're gonna have to walk it in anyway, otherwise it's gonna get all bunched up. So you would need a much bigger barrel than the hose in order to to have enough room, because it just kind of winds in wonky. So I'm a big proponent of winding in my garden hose and my pressure washer hose. The pressure washer hose especially because it has a wire in it. It's funny, we just got that carbon or the Kevlar bird, rain bird, whatever. It's the worst hose I've ever seen in my life. It's just hot garbage. It's terrible. It has a memory, and it just gets real. It's not good. I was assuming it was going to be great. Everybody's talking about how amazing this hose is. Amazing. It basically feels like the hose that comes with a Ryobi. Maybe it doesn't kink up quite as much, but man, it's terrible. So I'm still on the Gates single wire hose that you wind up by hand.
All right, I found the Ego portable compact pressure washer he was talking about. It's 2100 psi up to 1.2 GPM. Up to 30 minutes of runtime with included 6.0 amp hour battery. Item will be available soon.
I mean, unless it's remarkably cheaper, I doubt it's going to be better than the what would the benefit be? Just maybe a smaller, I guess.
Smaller, more compact.
It'll probably be $600, but if it doesn't get the same kind of output.
Scott wants to know, please could you explain your water softener setup? Looking at getting one for my home.
At the house in Middleton, it's just a simple potassium chloride cleaning resin. There's resin in a tank, and then there's a salt tank. It's separate. It uses potassium chloride instead of sodium chloride, and it uses that to refresh the resin. But it's a metered system, so it only flushes, I should say, the resin with potassium chloride when after a certain amount of water use. Whereas a lot of the softening systems, they're just timed. They're on a timing system, so they're constantly blowing through salt. So this only uses salt when it needs it. But it's just these are like $250 systems that they sell for $3,000. So that's if you're really into it, I'm sure you could figure it out on your own. But Kinetico, I think, is the best chain where you can get a decent quality system that's metered. And good performance, but you really need to get your water tested to see if you need iron breaker, you need an iron or reverse osmosis. What do you need in order to get the water what you need it to be? Do you need a sediment filter? Those kind of things.
Philippe up in Canada says, "Hey Matt, I want to build a new house, and my garage will be 24 by 24.
Okay.
Should I do the walls in ProSlat?"
I don't know yet. I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to try mine. So I'll have an answer here in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure.
Gavin wants to know if you've tested CarPro Darkside yet.
No, all my tester products, that I have a box of it, and it's all in a box. I have a minimal setup waiting on my cabinets to arrive.
When is the Bronco coming?
That'll probably be end of December, early January.
Buddy wants to know, hey Matt, which area in Florida do you expect to offer installation services?
Right here, Central Florida, only.
Has Brian driven it all? Luke wants to know. I heard you talk about getting a WRX hatchback from a while ago. Is this still the plan?
He's 13, so no.
And then when it comes time, he wants to know, is Michelle teaching him how to drive, or are you?
I don't know. We'll see. Probably Michelle.
Or Grandma. You can get Grandma.
Yeah.
Let's see. Zach says, I'd imagine Matt's foam cannon idea is great for people who know what they're doing, but I think most people would break something using too small of an orifice setting.
Well, it wouldn't be. It would have to have some sort of a detent, I guess, or maybe not a detent, but a way to lock it. So you put it in place and then you lock it down. But you just give them directions. I mean, people can buy a 1.1 orifice and put it on, I mean, you don't really have a problem opening up too big. You only have a problem opening, closing it too much. So you just give them directions, put a warning label, and said, "Don't be freaking stupid."
All right, back to coatings here for a second from our buddy Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you say you wager these smaller coating companies can't compete with G-Technic and other big brands, but my counter argument would be, would you have someone who still uses VHS tapes dial in the picture quality of your TV? What I'm getting at is newer and better technology sometimes outweighs the older ones.
Sometimes, but not always. What I'm saying is, well, if the newer, better technology, knowing Rob and his team, knowing the guys at Geon, knowing the guys at CarPro, now can they get fat and lazy? Sure, but nothing's changed in the formulation of the product. Yes, you might be able to get some minute adjustments by trying something a little bit different, or somebody trying something a little bit unique in the process of how they formulate it, but they're all doing the same thing. I mean, look at coating companies. They're all freaking idiots. They're all doing exactly the same thing that each other's doing. Here, let's create a pro-only option. I'm saying until I see something that looks remarkably better, they're all very similar. There was some promise with the, with RGO, refined graphene oxide, but it's the same crap, just with a different label stuck on the bottle to make it seem like it's better. So now it comes down to preference because they're all pretty similar.
Harley17 says, hello, awesome people. The new wand holder, tube style, will it be in the store at some point?
Yeah, sometime later this year, likely.
That's the one they've seen around the DI system, correct? Okay.
Yeah, see, the thing in the detailing world, it's the same thing with pressure washing. Like Josh and Keeve, and there's several other guys that are out chasing for some unicorn, and all of you guys are eating it up. Physics are physics, right? You have 110 volts and 15 amps to work with, or maybe 240 and 20 amps. So that's where you can make some remarkable differences with the pressure washers by having more power. So we're stuck with a certain amount of flow and a certain amount of pressure. And so unless somebody completely innovates like Active, where they came with a 5-plunger design on a radioaxial pump, or somebody does something, figures out some way to supercharge or something, the water coming back around, we're stuck with how much power we can get out of an electric motor in an outlet without having multiple circuits, or or going to 240 or something like that. So everybody that's out there chasing this new unicorn is wasting their time. Why do you think I'm not doing this? Like, why do you think I can look at Big Boy, I can look at Ava, I can look at all these other brands that are just putting different plastic on the same basic concept? Unless I see it and say, man, this pump design is remarkably different, then we're stuck. We're stuck with what exists. Now maybe Krenzla or AR or somebody can make a little bit prettier packaging or something, but generally speaking, you're not going to find some unicorn. They're all going to test the same or worse than what currently exists, outside of, again, Active, but they can't do what Active's doing because Active has the patent on it. So at least they can't do it in the US. So they have the patent on the 5-plunger design, and so Krenzla can't go in and do it. AR can't go in and do it, and so they own that tech. And so all this other nonsense you see everybody testing out is a complete waste of time. They already did it. Already tested it. They're all the same. So same thing with detailing products. Unless somebody comes out with some remarkably different formulation, the coatings in general are going to be rather similar. And similar performing, and then it comes down to subjective personal preference.
Fine Detailing wants to know: have you seen the new AR Blue Clean Pro RCA 3-Pro? Claims 3 GPM and 2 horsepower electric motor.
Yeah, but I mean, look how freaking ugly that thing is. It's a terrible hose reel. It's a terrible looking pump. That looks like an American pump to me. So yeah, I mean, but that's a 240 volt, 25 amp pump. It's easy. Anybody can do that. You can do it with cat pump. You can do it. There's cheap American companies, Lambda. Landa, Cam Sprayer or whatever. There's all kinds of companies that can come out with something just like that. So, yeah, and that pump's going to be kind of loud and kind of clunky. I mean, if I was doing an AR pump, it wouldn't be that. But that's a very standard, American build, very standard of what would be in like a car wash or something like that. So again, there is no secret here. It's all the same. What I'm looking for is the fit and finish, the packaging, how they're putting it together. And a pump like that is very generic. It's very American looking. It's very clunky. That's like a Camaro. It makes lots of noise, goes pretty fast, but it's still a Camaro inside. You still can't see out the back window when you're driving it. So we have to use logic here. Logic when you're jumping around looking for some unicorn. The pressure washer to get is a K1322 TS. If you want to do a much bigger pressure washer, we could do something from CAT. So I would probably do CAT versus AR or general pump. So you'd build a CAT pump with a stainless head on it or something like that. Or you go up to one of the big Krenslas. But you're going to spend the money to do that. Or in my case, I think the best way to do it for car washing is to do a tandem, do duals. So you do that dual setup because then I don't hold that heavy inline pressure. So like that AR pump probably holds 3 or 3,500 PSI in the line. And so when you release the trigger, that's when the orifice adjusts how much pressure you're going to receive at the end. But it's still going to hold that pressure in the line. And so that makes for not as good of a user experience. Like even the KWS 700 or the KWS 1200 from Krensla is going to hold 3,000-4,000 PSI in the line. And so you have that kick. It just makes for a less, not as good of a user experience. But again, I looked into it. I'm like, well, my partner in the engineering business that we're doing, we looked years ago when Krensla couldn't produce. I'm like, why don't we just make our own? And we could, but it's going to cost $1,000 more than the Krensla and be kind of janked. It's not going to have the same fit and finish. The advantage that AR pump, that's a triplex pump, so it has a crankshaft, which is a superior design from a longevity perspective. But again, rear engine in a 911 is an inferior design, and yet we still like 911s. So you can make a radial axial pump work really well, and Krensla's done a good job with that. So I'm buying a Krensla, an AR630. I don't care what else has come out. I'm buying one of those two. I'm buying a Comet if I want the convenience of on the wall. None of this other Chinese nonsense. That's an Italian pump. Again, I prefer a German pump, but Italian pump. All this Hotzi and Landa and all these other versions you can get it, like Harbor Freight. They're all either Chinese or American kind of janked together pumps. They're just not as refined. They're not as good of a user experience. If it were better and were the way to go, we would have gone down that path. But I'm telling you, it's not. Now, going back to the argument of coatings, there might be something out there I'm missing out on. And so maybe I'll find it, and maybe I'll be a little late to find it.
You kind of just addressed this, but Graydon, I think, is new here. He says, "Hey, Matt, I love watching all your videos. I really want to buy a Krensla, but which one should I buy for a wall mount solution?"
Yeah, 1322 TS. The 1622 TS should not exist outside of mobile. Or, that's it. That's the only reason you'd buy it. Or you want to buy it from some other retailer and they can't buy the 1322 TS. So they're selling an inferior pump that is not set up best for car washing.
A timely question here, or statement, I guess, from Johan. We need an HQ update video. It's funny you should mention that. There's one coming out, today or tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah, so Johan, be on the lookout for that. With regard to that, Luke wants to know, is Mike F. managing the build-out in the new office, or who is GCing that? And how do you manage what gets done first, like your garage at your house versus builds for other people versus build-out at the office?
Right now, the priority is getting my garage at my house done so we have a wash and talk, a filming spot. And then, mainly because we're waiting on permits for this building. I'm flying to Rytech to visit Rytech next week to kind of share with you how those are made. But the design studio will be general contracted by likely a friend of mine or friend of Michelle's, and he does most of the commercial development around here. And we're going to have him just set up the footprint, and then we'll go in and do all the finish work, like all the OG stuff. But the priority is my garage, then this garage, then the design studio will be done. Just that's the way the timing's working out.
Jack GJG says, "Hey Matt and Chris, longtime lurker. Matt, what are your tips for hyper organization when it comes to getting things done and staying on top of all the projects that come to your mind?"
I don't know. I mean, I don't do much calendaring. I don't do much task listing. I just do it. The tricky part over the years has been figuring out, having too much opportunity and too many projects at once. So I've gone too far, and then you just ratchet that back. And I don't know. Just take it one step at a time, and I try to keep it all organized while I'm in the chaos. I go in every time Mike goes in my garage. I go in and I spend 2 or 3 hours cleaning it up, getting it back. Even though I'm kind of wasting time, moving things back and forth, I'll go in and just try to keep the chaos managed. Like, I'm setting up all of the Rousseau cabinets. I unbox them all, check them all out, inventory it, put it all together. Even though it's not going to go and get installed for several months, I want to, I spend the time, even though most people would view that as a redundant time or a waste of time. I like to keep things structured and organized.
James is putting Cree lights in a 4-car garage.
Okay.
He's debating which way to run the lights, front to back or right to left. I see you have done both. Is there a rationale to doing it one way versus another?
The advantage of running front to back is that when the doors are open, you get a little bit more useful light out of your light arrays. So I like to run it left to right because then I can always just turn off the one that's above the doors if I don't need it. Kyle and the design team prefers to run it front to back, and then you would do a left to right in front of your cabinet array. That's a nice way of doing it. But I'm generally a left to right and then put them on zones. And so the one above the door is on a separate zone from the rest of the lights. The one above the cabinets where I'm going to be standing working on the workbench is on a different zone, so I can adjust that light differently. And so like the 3-car garage I have has 3 rows front to back. They're run left to right. It's about 3 rows, and so run left to right, and they're all in 3 different dimmers, so I can adjust them independently.
Shark Blue Turbo wants to know, when you're washing with rags to riches, do you always use 1 ounce or a half ounce or something?
I give a little 1 ounce and then a little swisheroo in there, so it's probably more like 3 ounces is what I probably end up using.
Invasion HD wants to know, are there any updates on the nozzle holder that mounts to the bottom of the pressure washer gun? Is there anywhere
there isn't one?
Yeah, where we can get the file to 3D print one for ourselves?
Well, the guy that he makes them, what's his name? Mad Detailing or something like that? That's who I bought it from. It's the little 3D printed little thingy. He sells them on his website. It's Mad something. It's like Mad Scientist Detailing or Mad Detailing or something like that.
Rachel drives cars, one of our ladies listening right now. When I have people over for car wash days and they hear the Krinsla, they want one. It sounds nice. It's agreeable. It's not annoying.
Is that Rachel Bryan's sister, Rachel?
Rachel? I don't know. She says, and it works well. Most others just don't sound great. That's
it's to me a functionally excellent experience is sometimes not quantifiable. When you live your life by specs, I think that's not it. You are, I think he's on Facebook only.
Okay.
But when you live your life based on specifications, you're almost always going to go wrong because you're missing the human element. You're missing something. Same thing with speakers. When people are like, I want a speaker with a flat frequency response, but then it might sound flat. Not all flat frequency responses have the same character. when you buy an amplifier and you're just buying it based on the amount of watts it has. Well, you're not always getting the whole story there. It might have higher total harmonic distortion. It might just not sound the same. I mean, there's on paper and then there's real life. And so, to me, a functionally excellent experience with a product is very rarely, you can always use that as a starting point. But this is where, I think like Josh and Keeve miss it on the pressure washers. They're missing some of the, that sort of user experience part. They're just, but they're providing a service. People want the specs because they think that the place to get the best information is via the specs. I would argue generally the specs are the last place I'm looking. I'm looking at the price. That gives me a good start. Like I walked in the tile place the other day, and I said, what's the most expensive tile? They looked at me like I had two heads. They thought I'd lost my mind. And it wasn't the one I picked, but they thought I was nuts. But that's because everybody else is looking for it the opposite way. What's the cheapest one? Well, why even start there? Because we know it's not going to be any good. And so you could ask, what's the best value? But I don't understand. Most of the time, salespeople don't know how to determine that because they're missing some of the parts and pieces. So with a Krenzla, with a Porsche, I think that if you're a Corvette driver, you're kind of numb to that. You're looking at specs. You're looking at it. Maybe for most Corvette drivers, it's nostalgia, right? My dad had it. My grandfather had it. My great-grandfather had it, or something like that. I saw one when I was 8 years old, and I always wanted one. I don't discount that at all. I can relate to that. But if most people are just spec people, well, the ZTL LT9 J7 Corvette, they like to use a lot of letters, is got more horsepower. But what is the driving experience like? That's what I'm interested in. And that's somewhat subjective, but not completely.
All right, Rachel drives clean cars. Says, Matt, you've asked me if I'm a Rachel that you know every time I chat in here. I'm not.
Okay. All right. I don't even know Brian Orr's sister is that Rachel. I have no idea.
She says, I live near Griot's and Dundon.
Okay.
So she's in Washington. Here's her. I found her Instagram page.
Okay.
Here. So she's got lots of pictures of clean cars.
I got you.
She owns a Porsche Panamera Turbo S.
Okay.
I track and autocross my cars, detail and show them, and enjoy seeing other local cars.
Gotcha.
There
Sorry about that, Rachel. I think Brian Orr's sister's name is Rachel, and she likes cars.
But does she like clean cars?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. All right, let me get back here. Blah, blah, blah. Have you ever considered adding any sort of lighting on walls for various detailing purposes?
That's a terrible idea. All it does is freaking blind you. It's a if you're going to have any horizontal light, you want to be able to adjust it so it's not reflecting right back in your eyeballs. That's why the sun match has a concave to it. I think that's a huge mistake. I don't see why that's necessary for people.
Yeah, and then she followed up with, I know it isn't helpful for evaluation, but is it helpful for anything else?
I don't think so. I think it's just distracting.
Kishore says, hey, Matt, I ordered some Bildhammer touchless.
Smart.
For some weird reason, USPS hasn't delivered to the correct address as on the shipping label. They do that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Can this be sorted out easily from the OG team? Yeah, just email support at Obsessed Garage. Tim's nodding his head right now. So, yeah, we'll help you out. USPS, it's probably long gone, so we'll have to replace it for you. Lightly Seasoned says, now I'm curious. Why does Matt think the Krenzla 1622 is only good for mobile detailing?
Well, first reason is the 1322 is less money and far superior. So why would we even need the 1622? The 1622 is weak. It does like 1.4 gallons a minute at 1,000 PSI. It just doesn't have the output. So why do we need it? I would much rather take the 1322 and just open up the orifice on the foam can, and you can run it on a 15 amp circuit. Good to go. So the 1322 has a different wobble plate. and that wobble plate. So it's a very similar. It also has a different electric motor winding. So the windings are different. So it has a different electric motor, has a different capacitor, has a different wobble plate. It's what I sat down and drew on a napkin. I'm like, I want it to do this. I wanted the 1622, which originally existed. The 1622 was the original on-wall version of the 1122. I flew to New York. This was in like 2000 and probably 2017, late 2017, and we couldn't get 1122s in stock. And I had the My Garage Wildwood. I had like a little 1,250 square foot, it's a little hobby garage that I was renting. And I wanted to put a pressure washer on the wall. And so I went and said to them, look, if you guys could take the 1622, which is not a great experience. The 1622 at the time didn't turn off. So it just ran. It was really quiet. It was really nice, but it was just weak. It just didn't have a lot of output. And so we made the 1322 and brought that out. And because I have exclusivity on the 1322, because it was my freaking idea, then the other retailers that then sort of started copying and selling Krenslas, they could sell the 1122, but they couldn't sell the 1322. And so Krensla obliged them, and because they don't know what they're selling, they don't know anything about it, and so they just said, well, let's just take the 1622, which is not a great car washing pressure washer. It's really made for window cleaning, is what that pressure washer exists for. So it's made for like cleaning skyscrapers and stuff like that, just helping aid clean off some of the algae and stuff that builds up on windows. And so it didn't have total stop, and so all they did was add total stop to it. And so it's 1.5-ish or less gallons per minute at 1,000 psi, and it costs $100 more than a 1322. I think it's still like 75 or $100 more, and it has total stop, which is nice. But the reason why I say it's great for mobile detailing, it's quieter, and it is doesn't draw as much current. It doesn't have as much inrush current as well because it doesn't have as much output. So if you're running it on a generator and you're trying to use a foam cannon, it's a decent experience.
Yeah, so it's $90 more.
Yeah. Yeah, $90 more. Now, part of the reason why it's more because I think it only comes with the accessories. I don't think you can get it without accessories. So it has a crappy gun and hose that you're not going to use.
Yeah, you get the sprayer, wand.
Right. So that's the price difference, is why it's a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, we sell it because, some of the mobile guys buy it, or some people just, I don't know, they just think that's the one they're supposed to get, which I would never, ever recommend. I would never use a 1622. It makes no sense.
Oh my goodness, here in the chat. Let's see. Ray says, I like that the two females listening are both Rachels. Hi there, other Rachel. Wow.
Easy, buddy.
Two Rachels. David R. says, once you've coated black trim with G-Technic, do you just recoat it when you think the coating is starting to go, as you can't polish the trim?
Yep.
23 do says, you can polish trim with a gold standard polish from DIY Detail and Pan's new polish.
No,
don't do that.
Neither. Definitely not.
Invasion HD.
You know what polish I would use? The polishes that are great. Jessicar Correction Compound, Griot's Fast Correcting Cream, or Sonex Perfect Finish, or Last Step, the last cut. Jace Price's stuff is pretty good. Or one of the other 5,000 other polishes. All the Rupes stuff is really great. Jason Rose has a lot to say with that. The McGuire's 110, 210. I don't know why people are just using those out of nostalgia. I don't think either one of those are very good, but they're probably better.
Invasion HD wants to know, are there any cons to leaving the OG blue garden hose outside year-round if you have all 4 seasons?
It'll fade, which I think that's a pro because it's a little too bright blue. But I don't like the Ely hoses, man. They're grabby, and they get kind of scratched up looking. And I know lots of people like the Ely hose, and I'm a Ely super fan. The Ely hose reel, unmatched. The hoses, the termination on the hose is great. The couplings and the ferrules and fittings are great. But their quick disconnects are too bulky and heavy. Kind of weighs on the hose. And also their hose. I just don't like the poly hose. I want a rubber hose.
Obsessed Detailing Solutions says, I've had the 1322 TS for 4 years now. Only thing you have to do is shorten the power cord, and it runs fine on a generator.
Mm-hmm. I figured. You just need a 4,800 watt generator, to get it to function. Shorten the power cord probably also helps as well with inrush and, current draw, heat.
Then Invasion HD Reply said, make sure to check the inlet filter if you haven't. I had my 1322 for 2 years and cleaned the inlet filter, and it has more power now and works like new.
I punt the inlet filter usually. Just pull it off, throw it away. But yeah, it's probably smart to have one.
Obsessed Detailing Solutions wants to know, is there any update on the $1,000 price range air compressor?
There's so much I need to do.
That's a no.
Zero update. Yeah,
it's on the short list. Yeah, we really do have a lot. Steven wants to know, what's the preference when it comes to windshield wipers?
I like OE wipers. So whatever your car is, unless they just happen to have really garbage ones, I found that like Porsche, I just buy the Porsche wipers, which I'm sure they're Bosch wipers, but I like those the most.
Brian says, hey, Matt, I just got the Rupes Nano, the Merca, and the Milwaukee Polisher.
I like it.
Which speed for each one should I be using?
So on the Milwaukee, what is that? Shoot, what is the RPM? Was it 4,400, I believe? It's like 2 clicks down from max speed. The Merca, I'm not sure what number it is because I haven't really chosen. Yeah, so yeah, I don't remember what the I think it's 4,400 is the speed that I use. I just do it by feel. Yeah, so 51, 47, 50, and then 44. Yep, so it is 2 clicks. So I use 4,400 or the one below that, whatever that was, 4,150 or whatever that, 4,250. 4,150, I think it is. The Merca, gosh, I'm not sure. I think there are 8 settings, and I want to say I'm using 3 or 4. You can tell because when you get to max speed, it like double blinks red. And then for the Nano, if you're using the Nano on rotary, you want to use it as slow as possible, all the way down. Same thing when I'm doing DA. I'm usually running it like, I forget what the scale is. I think it's 1 through 10. I'm usually running. You have to remember when you're doing 12 millimeter orbit on that tiny little pad, the smaller the pad with rotary, the less aggressive. The reason why I use it on slow speed on rotary is so it doesn't fling crap all over the place, right? But you could ramp the speed up. It's not super aggressive rotary mode on the Nano. But when you're doing dual action, the smaller the pad, the more aggressive the cut. So you need to be careful. You run too much speed on that sucker. Plus, it has that metal shroud. It smacks into stuff, and you're usually using it on tight areas. So I'm going to run the DA maybe a slightly higher or faster than stall speed. Because if you run it too slow, it'll stall all the time on you. Also, make sure on your Nano, your batteries are always fresh because it'll stall more on you when the battery isn't fresh. And it doesn't really give you a good indicator. Like Milwaukee's circuitry, same thing with Merca, is it won't ramp down power. It'll just turn off. It'll manage it, and then it'll say, all right, we're done. Whereas on the Rupes stuff, it's not as sophisticated where it'll slowly drop off. Same thing with the Flex. I do have the new Flex polishers coming to the new 24 volt. I'm really interested to see what the XFE 15 24 volt version feels like because the XFE 15 18 volt is super smooth, just didn't have enough power. And so they've expanded the RPM range because now they have 24 volts. So I'm excited to try that out because now that the Rupes is so smooth, it makes me hate the Milwaukee, but the Rupes stalls and has all kinds of problems. So it makes me hate the Rupes. So I hate both of them now. And so I'm kind of thinking maybe that Flex, that new 24 volt might become the thing. I should have it here like in the next week or so.
Yeah, so let's see. I looked up his order. He got all kinds of stuff here. Look at all that good stuff.
Nice.
Looks like a Matt Mormon order.
That's a Matt Mormon order for sure.
One of everything, 2 of some things, 6 of another thing.
Yeah, that's a good guy there. He's a man after my own heart here. And he's like, if we're gonna do it, let's frickin' do it.
He's in one of my favorite cities, Louisville. Thanks, Brian.
I think I know Brian.
Let's see here. And going back to one of our Rachels here. OE wipers for German cars are nice. For other cars, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I'm not much of a... The Japanese cars seem to be okay. I always used to buy, what is a Pia somethings. PIAA, Tribe Corns or something. I don't remember. But I'm buying German cars, so I buy the German water blades. Even Fords. I always buy the Ford OE ones. They're not bad.
AT wants to know what happened to that guy who makes the technical short videos. Put more content there. Those were good.
Oh, yeah.
Nick and OG Shorts.
Yeah, I dropped the prioritization of that. Because we've answered most of the stuff. We really did that for our tech support team, so they had a resource. But we'll probably get back to that at some point.
JR wants to know, have you played with the new NAD M10 V3?
Not yet. I have it on order. I don't think it's out yet. I think the only ones that are available were maybe like testers sent to reviewers, which I'm not a reviewer. I don't want that crap. I have a set of per listen speakers that were two per listens that we're gonna demo next week. I have the new Cinema 30 from Marantz I'm going to put in to my home theater at my house. I'm just waiting on the floor standing Imagines I'm going to put in the family room and the Black Center channel. So we're going to revamp the system at my house in the next week or so.
Has Matt ever found a way to quiet down the sound when rolling around a floor jack? New wheels, grease, or any other options?
No, I haven't.
Brian wants to know, what's your process for cleaning your wash mitt after washing your car? Do you just rinse good with water or run it through the washing machine?
Oh, no, definitely washing machine every time. Yeah, that's a good practice. Wash it and dry it.
And then speaking of which, Matt, do you wash your gray and orange drying aid towels together, or do you separate them?
No, I separate them because they don't want the oranges will get kind of darkened. You can do it after they get older, but even then, I always wash them separately.
Which shop vacuum do you prefer? Milwaukee, Flex, Rigid, something else?
I really like the Flex the most. I've been using the Milwaukee cordless, which is okay. It doesn't have the suction, and the one to get is probably Festool. But I do like that Flex a lot.
Have you used the new Rupes Mark V yet?
No, I don't know why I don't have one yet. I don't know that they've shipped yet.
Brian wants to know, have you upgraded to iPhone 16 yet?
Yeah, it just showed up today. This isn't it, but I got to swap it.
Modest Man says Subaru OEM wipers are the best. Do you have anything specific you're hoping to see at SEMA this year? Do you have any sort of game plan?
My game plan is always the same. Get there Monday, so I'm ready to go on Tuesday. Get there before they open because I have an exhibitor badge. So I get there Monday, get with the ride company guys, grab my badge, go, and first thing, so I'm going to get up at 5 a.m., so I'll stay on East Coast time. So I get up at 4 a.m., all right, get to the gym, go do a workout, stay fasted the whole day, so I'm not going to eat anything. I have already booked the steakhouse for 4 straight days. So I'll go to the steakhouse at the hotel or right there, so I don't have to go anywhere. So I never leave the property. I stay at Westgate, which is the same as the convention center. It's attached to the convention center. So go upstairs, come down. We want to hit every single spot at least once, if not twice or 2 or 3 times. We're probably the only 2 people that walk every single booth, every single aisle, every single square inch of both SEMA and Apex. So Tommy and I will try to get as many hauls done that first day as humanly possible. We try to avoid detailing the first day because I'll get hung up there, getting stopped and shaking hands and kissing babies and all that kind of stuff. I did, just because RideTech, I think I'm going to have a great relationship with RideTech. I did, for the first time in many years, agree to spend 2 hours. So I'll be at the RideTech booth from 1 to 3 p.m. On Thursday after I run through Apex. So Tuesday and Wednesday's job is to get through everything. Try to find, get through every aisle and see if there's anything cool. Tommy carries a backpack so he can grab cards or anything we want to come back and revisit later. And so we grabbed those things and put in the cart. The cart. I just want a card. Sometimes a catalog if it was a product I was really interested in. But we try to get through everything. So we'll do probably Central first, North second, then we do South, and then usually we can get through those two plus most of South the first day. And then we get through the remaining part of South, which is usually a bunch of junk. The bottom part of South, the low level of South, is Chinese tires and wheels. But sometimes a Hunter's over there usually, but there's usually occasionally something sprinkled in there we might be interested in. And then the second day, that's when we'll do the second part of South, and then go over to West. West Hall usually takes me the whole day because that's where all the detailing stuff is. And then again, Thursday morning, go over to Apex. I'll be at the Rytech booth, and then the remaining part of Thursday and Friday, try to go back and see if we missed anything. But I don't have any specific products I'm looking for, which is way more fun. Last year I was looking for tools. This year I'd like to talk to Klein if they're there. That's really the only major one that I'd like to talk to. And then I'll go see more relationships, I'm having dinner with Sonic. I'm having dinner with Mantis. And those are the only three things I have scheduled: is Rytech, Mantis, and Sonic.
Brian, who was talking about the polishers earlier, says, thanks. Are you using rotary more than you would DA when it comes to the Nano?
Generally, because when you need to get up to something tightly, the DA is a 12 millimeter orb, so it'll smack into the edge of whatever you're trying to get up next to. So I'm always using DA if I can. Because the rotary will leave hazing that you have to then get in with a DA anyway with the foam to clean up, usually. So, it's probably 50-50 for me.
AT wants to know if you have a dinner scheduled with a Dallas paint correction guy when you're at SEMA.
God, no. Yeah, I wonder what people think that, bought into. They can't see. That's the other part that people forget, is how much information somebody like me has by being, one, obsessed, two, sort of connected to the information that's available. Oftentimes, if I'm keeping my mouth shut, it's just because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the fight. He's not back, is he? When's the last video? A year ago.
1 year ago. 1 year ago.
Yeah. That was his plan to bring in this girl. He thought maybe a girl would get me big views, but yeah, he was detailing for like a year before he started the channel, and pretending like he's been detailing for 30 years. He used to live on Auto Fetish, Darren Priest's couch. He was on his couch for a while. So Darren always thought it was funny that he's pretending that he's owned this paint correction business for decades. What he did really well, and he should have stuck with, was the cheap. Everything, let's use Purple Power for everything. But then he came out with a really expensive line of products, and Samit got a real great experience of what it was like to work with them. So yeah, I could tell you guys a million stories. He's a funny guy. I don't feel good about it because my guess is he's probably in rehab, or maybe he's not alive anymore. But I think that he had some problems. I don't know this, but I'm just assuming, based on my guess, is that he had some substance abuse problems. But his Facebook group real sure did hate me. But then all of a sudden, he's selling $200 coatings. I mean, I don't sell a $200 coating. And but they bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Rachel says, a small rotary with a 1-inch pad on a long-ish extension is wonderful for getting into really tight spaces.
Yep.
We have those extensions too. What's your go-to soap for a weekly wash on a personal vehicle?
Yeah, GSF. Coach Kemi GSF for sure.
I saw Liquid Elements has released a T4500. Have you tried it yet?
I don't think they have a UL. I don't think they have a 110 volt version of that. I know they don't.
Hey Matt, would you recommend painting rotor hats that are starting to have some browning from rust? Thinking of flat black.
I always do. Yep, for sure.
Should I also keep the wheel mating surface clean from any paint or clear?
Yeah, you probably should.
Question about a Crinzilla from Negrone24.
Okay.
Is it important to release the pressure once you're done? Also, should I also shut off water service after use? Thanks for your products as always.
It's not. You could leave it primed and set up and just leave it on. I would guess maybe over a long period, like a decade, maybe it would cause some sort of detriment to the check valves. If you have good clean water, you don't want to leave DI water in the head, the pump head, because it'll sit there just leaching the brass head. You'll end up with check valve issues and rusting and seal issues and stuff much quicker than you would if you flushed it through. But I don't think it would be a problem long term. I mean, you might be talking about, instead of 20 years, 19 years, you got to do a full rebuild or something. But my guess is it's probably negligible and not an issue. So you might want to turn it off just in case it does lose some pressure. You don't want it surging if you can help it. But if it's pressurized and the water's sitting in it and it's decent water and it's not DI water, I think it'd be fine.
All right, a couple of quick questions here to close this out. Modest Man, do you have any new chemicals you're excited to try?
I still have a few glass coatings that I want to test out. All the ones I've tried have not been great. I need to talk to Bradley because maybe I had a bad batch of V2 because he loves his glass coating and he's not an idiot. And the V2 glass coating was pretty terrible. This is a V2 that I don't think is launched yet. I still keep coming back to Wolf's topped with now Clarify Phobic. I have several other products. I do want to try the Carpro Dark Side on the tires. I can't really think of much else that. I mean, you guys are making me think maybe I should try some different coatings. I don't know. But nothing else. The biggest detailing thing will be if the Press-All bottles are good. We're looking pretty good.
PIAA Super Silicone? Is that what
Yeah. Those are the ones.
Thanks.
Those are like all the rage back in like 2001. It's like, man, get me a set of $35 wiper blades, or maybe they were like $50. I'm like, this would be great.
Brendan just mounted a TV in his garage.
Nice.
Between the cabinets, but struggling with a glare when the garage is open.
Yeah, that's part of the deal.
Any ideas there? Nothing.
There isn't nothing you can do. That's why you do an LCD, so that way it doesn't, hopefully it's got a matte finish on it, but even that makes it almost unwatchable. That's the tricky part. There's nothing you can do.
JSB wants to know, how many vehicles do you think you can get out of the Woof's 50 milliliter bottle?
Ooh. 40.
A lot.
Yeah. A long time.
Brendan's doing a seats out detail on his car right now.
Mm-hmm.
Curious as to how you tackle trim scratches and also gauge clusters, plastic scratches, and swirls.
I buy new if I can. That's what's frustrating about the Evos. They're not available. I just buy new trim. Like in my GT3 RS, I'm buying all new trim.
Improved Garage, Super Chat, $5. Is the Node icon available yet?
Not until November. I am chomping at the bit to get that thing.
Matt, which paint primer would you recommend for the rotor hats, and how many layers of each would you recommend?
I always buy that high temp stuff at like, I don't know the brand, but you just go to AutoZone and you buy like the 1200 degree rotor or caliper paint. And then usually what I do, so I don't have to tape anything off, I just spray it into the top, and I get just like throwaway brushes and I just brush it on. Not ideal. The way to do it would be take the rotor off, tape everything off, paint it, off the car. But brushing it on, that stuff usually lays pretty flat because it's, heavy solvent, based. And so usually, you just brush it on.
Would you also recommend doing a clear over the flat black?
I never have that coating usually, but that would be great to do if you had kind of find a high temp clear and a high temp black, and if you had masked everything off and painted it, that would be ideal, especially if you have those skills, which I don't. I'm just globbing it on there with a cheap, with a throwaway paintbrush.
Mike G says to give jade amethyst glass coating a try. And lastly here, Andy says, aside from Pan's release BS, his tire dressing is better than Dark Side, in my opinion. So maybe that's worth trying. All right. Last one, Pearl Mike Jam. Will we get a dialed-in golf cart content in Middleton?
I bet you we do. I wouldn't be surprised. I got a little ways to go. I've got to get, I got to get the studio up here so I can get my cars out of there so I can get a golf cart. Right now I don't have anywhere to put it.
All right, that's all we got for today. We will be back next week.
Remember, audio sale, private sale, live on it's 6 to 7:30 on next Friday. Michael Stevens might be making a cameo in that video. We have if you missed that time, you can always reach out and we'll honor the sale for the maybe till like the early that following week. But there might not be anything left because I'm only selling what I got. So keep that in mind.
So we'll do regular podcast at this time. And then live, it'll be a live stream.
At 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern. Yep.
Good. All right. Thanks, everybody, for your input and your questions and your orders. We appreciate it.
We are looking for a garage design person. It's going to be, I'm telling you, there's going to be lots of opportunity here, with the design, especially with the new design studio. We're looking for somebody to help with national, international design at the moment, but we need somebody. I think we've gotten our tech support position filled and our warehouse position filled, right? But we do need to. We're looking for very specific, OG type, long-term OG follower to come. It's a shade above an entry-level position with lots of upside potential. I'm telling you. It's something, I'm looking for somebody who's hyper-organized, really understands product, who can learn quickly, wants to learn a lot of stuff, and I'll take you to the frickin' promised land. That's the plan.
So if that's you, email.
If you're promised land destined,
Kyle.
Let's go.
Email Kyle at obsessedgarage.com.
Yeah, email me as I'm going to do squad.
See you guys next week.